Krishna. Hare Krishna. Gauranga Sundar Prabhu, can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu, yeah, I will.
Okay, Jai. So we just wait. Ishan Prabhu is going to join.
Yeah. How's everything going?
Everything's going good. we don't have any time to sleep. We don't have any time to eat. It's turning to be.
How many devotees are there right now?
Probably about 15.
Oh, Jai.
Yeah, Jai, Haribo, Srila Prabhupada ki. So just waiting for Ishan Prabhu to join under the name of Miss Victoria. I hope he's not having fun. Okay, I'll try to play Prabhupada singing bhajan in the meantime. We'll start this way.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Pramad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Ramacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Swamavita Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the Asamal Lord. All glories to the Asamal Lord. All glories to the Asamal Lord. Thank you very much. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome back to the European Prabhupadanuga festival in Germany. And as planned, a little bit later, unfortunately, or fortunately, depends where you are, we do have Ishan Prabhu with us now, and we have to really apologize for waking him up at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning. And he spent all the evening, nights, preparing for this class, and we really do apologize for putting him through some inconvenience. But we really do totally appreciate his association, what he's going to share with us today. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ishan Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratashe Namaha Namo Brahmanaya Devaya Go Brahmanya Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Vrindaya Tulsi Devi Priyaya Keshavasya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satyabhajai Namo Namaha Yani Kani Chapapani Brahmahatya Dakani Cha Tani Tani Pranasyanti Pradakshana Pade Pade Hey Krishna Korana Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gorange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Actually, I was very busy yesterday. I had to attend to many things in town and came home quite late and had other things to attend to. So I'm going to more or less just be spontaneous. But before I begin, rather than have some specially prepared class, which I would like to do that, but sometimes Krishna creates situations before we begin. I wanted to know, we spoke yesterday and it may have raised some questions in some devotees' minds, may have raised some questions, and others may want to add some comments. If there's anything that anyone would like to ask or say before we begin today, please go ahead and do that.
Yeah, Ishan Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
I would like to say something. And I really want to apologize on behalf of the devotee community at large to you that I see, I feel, and I know that you have deep, deep love and appreciation and connection and relationship with Srila Prabhupada. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, whatever. Yeah. You can say that, but relatively speaking to the devotee community at large, you have a lot of it. And this is exactly the reason why I want to get more of your association. Even if I could, I would come to America and spend time with you. But we should all be absolutely grateful for this association. And we should know also that anybody, unfortunately, there will be consciousness that will criticize and will find fault and has found fault. So on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and let's say non-criticizing devotees, I like to apologize hearing such criticism and being subjected to that. And just to let you know that there are devotees all around the world who really, really feel you and really, really want to hear more from you. As I speak right now, you can see my hair is like standing on end. So yeah, that I really want, because I know and I feel it so much, I want the devotee community at large to create an atmosphere where we say, yes, please, this is what we want. Come, sit with us, give us this, and not kind of be jealous or envious or neophyte or whatever we are to kind of shun it or reject it. So, you know, when we welcome a baby into the world, we welcome it with open arms, open heart, with love and acceptance. And that's the mood we should create for all devotees, but especially for devotees like yourself, who have such deep, compared to us, deep love and attachment and appreciation for Srila Prabhupada. You have the relationship that we want. So please feel free to talk really deeply and really freely, ignoring what some people may say as sentimental or without reference to Shastra. But if you can and if you want and you feel you want to share the deepest of the private stuff that you have with Prabhupada and Krishna, please know that in this atmosphere you can do that if you wish.
I see. I'm a little bit curious. Have you received some kind of confrontation or negative feedback?
No, not at all. Here, everybody's loving you. Since yesterday now, because a lot of people didn't know you, since yesterday, everybody, okay, I've got to listen to Ishan. Okay, I've got to watch that class again yesterday. When is Ishan coming on? But from what I heard from you, actually, I heard from you that some people called you sentimental because you're saying stuff to Shastra. And I've experienced a little bit like that also. So I know how it can feel, and you receive much more, of course, because you're a prominent person. But I just wanted to make sure you know here, feel absolutely free to speak everything and anything if you.
Okay. Okay. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about this quality that seems to be so much important, the Brahminical quality, the quality of inner satisfaction of the heart. Srila Prabhupada says in the Krishna book that the four regulative principles are, he uses these words, preliminary qualifications, preliminary for attaining the mode of goodness. In other words, the mode of goodness is something much more subtle than these four. Without these regulative principles, there's no question of proceeding, but they're the very, very beginning of what the mode of goodness is. So the mode of goodness is actually a quality of the heart. And I wanted to speak a little bit about that. When Krishna, in Krishna book, what chapter is that? Yes, chapter 51, Krishna the Rancher. So, Rukmini, she is the goddess of fortune, and she wanted only to have Krishna as her husband. And she sent a Brahmin. She had a brother called Rukmi, and Rukmi was very, very antagonistic towards Krishna. Actually, he hated Krishna. Although Rukmini's father very much appreciated and wanted Krishna to marry his daughter, the father went along with Rukmini. So she sent a Brahmin to Krishna saying, "You please make some arrangement. You come and take me away from all of this and take me with you and let me be your wife." So the Brahmin arrived, and Srila Prabhupada writes, reaching the gate of Dwarka, the Brahmana informed the doorkeeper of his arrival, and the doorkeeper led him to the place where Krishna was sitting. Krishna was sitting on a golden throne. And since the Brahmin had the opportunity of being Rukmini's messenger, he was fortunate enough to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is the original cause of all causes. A Brahmana is a spiritual teacher of all the social divisions, and Lord Sri Krishna, in order to teach everyone Vedic etiquette of how to respect a Brahmin, he immediately got up and offered him his throne. Let's think about that. Krishna in Dwarka, the Brahmin comes to see Krishna, and Krishna gets up and offers, Krishna sitting on a throne, a golden throne, and he gets up and he offers his throne to the Brahmin. When the Brahmin was seated on the golden throne, Lord Sri Krishna began he began to worship him exactly in the manner in which the demigods worship Krishna. Imagine. In this way, he taught everyone that worshiping his devotee is more valuable than worshiping himself. So we're worshiping Srila Prabhupada also. We're worshiping him as we would worship Krishna. In due time, the Brahmin took his bath, accepted his meals, and he took rest on a bedstead completely bedecked with soft silk. And as he was resting, Lord Sri Krishna silently approached, and with great respect, he put the Brahmin's legs on his lap, and he began to massage them. In this way, Krishna appeared before the Brahmin, and he said, "My dear Brahmin, I hope you're executing the religious principles without any difficulty, and that your mind is always in a peaceful condition." Let's think about this for a minute, that Krishna is saying that he hopes that the Brahmin's mind is always in a peaceful condition. And in Bhagavad Gita 1842, this is the very first quality of the Brahmin, peacefulness. Samadamas tapas socham, peaceful. To have a peaceful mind, peaceful heart. So, continuing with Krishna book, different classes of people in the social system, they're engaged in various professions, and when one inquires as to the well-being of a particular person, it must be done on the basis of the person's occupation. And therefore, when one inquires as to the welfare of Brahman, questions should be worded according to his condition of life, so as not to disturb him. And now, again, a peaceful mind is the basis of life. It's the basis for becoming truthful, clean, equipoised, self-controlled, and tolerant. A peaceful mind is the basis for all of these qualities Srila Prabhupada's writing. He's instructing us that if we're peaceful, then we can become truthful. Then we can become clean inside and out. Then we can become equipoised, not disturbed by anything. And then we can become self-controlled. And then we can become very tolerant. Srila Prabhupada continued. Thus, by attaining knowledge and knowing its practical application in life, one becomes convinced about the absolute truth.
Ishan Prabhu, can you just tell us again what you're reading from?
Yeah. Page 51, 351. The Krishna the Ranchor.
Yeah, that's it. Which one?
Chapter 51.
And that starts when Muchukunda, right? Celebrated. That's how the chapter starts?
Yes, that's right. A few pages in, page That's page 347, and this is page 351.
But why do I have only one page? Why do I have only this short? Just give us 2 seconds, Ishan Prabhu.
So I will use this because it's much easier.
52, chapter 52. Down. Keep on down.
All right,
51.
you got it?
Okay, scroll down.
So
Almost.
should I? It's okay, Prabhu, if you need a little time.
Give us a word where you're at now.
Yeah, a peaceful mind is the basis for becoming truthful, clean, equipoised. Maybe I can help you. You're in the right chapter. I'll tell you which paragraph, okay?
Yep.
There's the first paragraph, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8, 9.
Peaceful mind. Peaceful mind.
The ninth paragraph says, start reaching the gate of Dwarka.
A peaceful mind is the basis for becoming truthful.
You find that?
A peaceful mind is the basis for becoming truthful.
Yeah.
Okay, we got it.
There's a paragraph that begins, reaching the gate of Dwarka. The Brahmana informed the doorkeeper.
Yep. Can you see our screen?
Can I? Yes, you're in the right place. Can you see that?
Yes.
Can you now come on down a little further? Yes, there you're on. Okay, very good. Should I continue?
Please, sorry.
No problem. So thank you. So a peaceful mind. So Krishna is saying to the Brahmin, I hope that your mind is always in a peaceful condition. And Srila Prabhupada explains that a peaceful mind is the basis for becoming truthful. If one is peaceful, they can be truthful. If one is clean, if one is peaceful, they can be clean, inside and out. Equipoised. You see, when we're peaceful within our heart, external things don't matter very much, or they don't matter at all. And this is a mystery. How can one be equipoised, indifferent to gain and loss, victory and defeat, honor and dishonor? How can? He says, if the mind is peaceful, one can be all these things: truthful, clean, equipoised, and self-controlled. How can a person be self-controlled? Because those who don't have peace inside their heart are looking for so many things outside of themselves constantly, and they have no control. They can't be, they're indifferent. But a peace person who's satisfied within his heart can can control himself from all material things. And tolerant, he can tolerate everything, anything. Thus, by attaining knowledge and knowing its practical, so that's knowledge. And the practical application is that one can open their heart to Krishna. Thus, by attaining knowledge, Srila Prabhupada writes, and knowing its practical application in life, one becomes convinced about the absolute truth. The Brahmana knew Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Still, he accepted the respectful service of the Lord on the grounds of Vedic social convention. He let Krishna worship him. Lord Sri Krishna was playing just like a human being, belonging to the Kshatriya division of social system, and being a young boy, it was his duty to show respect to such a Brahmin. So now Lord Krishna continues, O best of all the Brahmins, you should always remain satisfied. So this is the same thing, to remain satisfied within the heart, to be peaceful. Because if a Brahmin is always self-satisfied, he will not deviate from his prescribed duties. And simply by sticking to one's prescribed duties, especially the Brahmanas, they can attain the highest perfection of all desires, even if a person is as opulent as the king of heaven, Indra. If he's not satisfied, he inevitably has to transmigrate from one planet to another. Such a person can never be happy under any circumstance, but if a person's mind is satisfied, even if he's bereft of his high position, he can be happy living anywhere and everywhere. So this instruction of Krishna to the Brahmana is very significant. The purport is that a true Brahmin should not be disturbed in any situation. So this is being said again and again in so many ways, that the Brahmin should be peaceful. Krishna wishes the Brahmin to be peaceful within his heart and self-satisfied, so that he can be a Brahmin, so that he can be a devotee. The purport is that a true Brahmin should not be disturbed in any situation. This is the quality of the Brahmin. In the modern Kali Yuga, the so-called Brahmin have accepted the abominable position of a Sudra or less than Sudra, and still want to pass as a qualified Brahmin. Actually, a qualified Brahmin always sticks to his own duties. Okay. So Lord Krishna declared that a Brahmin should never be disturbed by any adverse condition of life if he scrupulously sticks to his religious principles. In conclusion, Lord Sri Krishna said, I offer my respectful obeisances to the Brahmins and the Vaishnavas. Why? Because the Brahmins are always self-satisfied, and the Vaishnavas are always engaged in the actual welfare activities for the human society. They are the best friends of the people in general. Both are free from false egoism, and always in a peaceful condition of mind. So this is being said again and again in these few paragraphs. How much important is this quality of the Brahmin, this quality of inner peace of the heart, this quality of self-satisfaction, which enables one to be never disturbed by any external condition. In other words, it's not like some kind of austerity that one performs by force, by strong determination, that he should be tolerant, that he should be peaceful, that he should, but because he's peaceful within his heart, because there's a great inner satisfaction. All good qualities come about without separate endeavor. This inner peace. So, and Krishna has so much affection. Now let's go for the Brahman because it has these qualities. Okay. If we go to Bhagavad Gita, if we go to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, verse 15, okay, Krishna starts to talk about these Brahminical qualities again. And Krishna says, Anudvega Karam Vakyam. Translation. Austerity of speech consists in speaking truthfully and beneficially and avoiding speech that offends. He never offends anyone. And one should also recite the Vedas regularly. In the next verse, Krishna continues, 60. Yeah, excuse me. 16.
I have the
Here-
verse on text if you want.
And serenity. Now this verse talks about mana prasada somyatvam. Mana prasada, if we look in the synonyms, mana prasada means satisfaction of the mind. Krishna's talking again about satisfaction of the mind. But if we look in the translation of the verse, Srila Prabhupada doesn't use that translation, satisfaction of the mind. Rather, he says serenity. Can you see that? Highlight that, serenity? Yes. So satisfaction of the mind and serenity. Krishna's, again, speaking of these terms, just as he was in the Krishna book. And other qualities, simplicity, gravity, and self-control. How he is self-controlled? Because his mind is satisfied. So external conditions don't mean it. Honor and dishonor, success and failure, victory and defeat. He's doing everything in a peaceful frame of mind because he's satisfied within. And this is the mode of goodness. This is the essence of the mode of goodness. Purity of thought. These are austerities of the mind, Krishna says. And in 17, in the next verse, verse 17, Krishna continues that this threefold austerity of the body and mind and senses, this is practiced by men. And this is important because there are people who cultivate these Brahminical qualities of inner peace, but they are not trying to please Krishna. But Krishna says in verse 17 that this threefold austerity is practiced by men whose aim is not to benefit themselves materially, but to please the Supreme. And this threefold austerity, Krishna says, is of the nature of goodness. So Krishna is glorifying these Brahminical qualities. And he's saying that we should practice like this in order to please Krishna. He likes it. He loves it when we are peaceful and self-satisfied and serene within our hearts. So if we go to the 18th chapter, we've all heard of the Brahma Bhuta platform that which Krishna describes in 1854. No, 18, yes. But Krishna is explaining in 1851 to 53. He's explaining in 51 to 53 how one comes to this Brahman, a Bhuta platform. He says, being purified by his intelligence, controlling the mind with determination, giving up objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, one who lives in a secluded place like a temple, who eats little, who controls the body and the tongue, who's always in trance. What does that mean, always in trance? Well, we'll come back to that, but it's this trance of inner peace, and is detached, who is without false ego or false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and who does not accept material things, means that he's not looking to material things for his inner fulfillment, because his fulfillment is already there in his heart. So Krishna says a person who can be like this, such a person is elevated to the position of self-realization, which is this liberated condition we call Brahma Bhuta. In other words, Krishna is saying we can cultivate this platform of Brahma Bhuta. Now, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada's first sentence is that one who's purified by knowledge, he keeps himself in the mode of goodness. So this is the mode of goodness. This is, try to remember that what Krishna has said in chapter 17 about maintaining this quality of inner peace of the heart, maintaining this quality of serenity of the heart, maintaining this quality of inner satisfaction of the heart. So he says, thus one becomes the controller of the mind. He's not trying hard to control the mind. He's controlled because he's peaceful within himself. He's always in a trance of inner peace. He's not attached to the objects of sense gratification. Again, why? Because his gratification is inside himself. He doesn't eat more than he requires. Why? Because he's fulfilled already within his heart. He feels full. And he controls the activities of the body and mind. He has no false ego. Because he does not accept the body as himself. And he doesn't have a desire to make his body fat and strong by accepting so many material things. He's not thinking, in other words, that if I have this, if I have that, if I have that, then I'll be satisfied, then I'll be powerful, then I'll be... No, he cares not for any of this. Because he has no bodily concept of life. He's not thinking, in other words, that he has to please his senses in order to be happy. He's happy inside himself. Therefore, he's not falsely proud. He's satisfied with everything that is offered to him by the grace of the Lord. This is how he becomes tolerant in any condition, because he's peaceful within, because he's satisfied within, because he's has satisfaction of the mind within, because he's serene within. This is the mode of goodness. In other words, like we were saying, these, like Srila Prabhupada writes in Krishna book, that the four principles, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no meat eating, and no gambling, these are preliminary qualifications for the mode of goodness, but the real mode of goodness is what we're describing here. He's satisfied. He's never angry in the absence of sense gratification. In other words, if things don't go the way he plans or the way he wants, he's not disturbed because he's pacified within himself. He doesn't endeavor to acquire sense objects. Why? Because he doesn't hanker for anything. He doesn't desire, because he's fulfilled within himself. And thus, when he's completely free from false ego, he becomes non-attached to all material things. Now, and that is the stage of self-realization of Brahman. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining that all of this is the mode of goodness. It's not devotional service yet. It's just the mode of goodness. Of course, Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport to 1854 that when one is actually engaged in pure devotional service, he develops all the Brahminical qualities without separate endeavor. But he also says in different places in Bhagavad Gita, in his purports, that to engage immediately in pure devotional service, one has to be, and this is in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita also, one has to be on the level of Arjuna, and one has to be a pure devotee in order to immediately take to pure devotional service. So for most of us, he says, we should develop all of these other qualities step by step. So, and if we do, look what Srila Prabhupada says. At that stage, that is the stage of self-realization of Brahman. In other words, by becoming deeply situated in the mode of goodness, deeply situated in inner satisfaction, deeply situated in inner serenity, deeply situated in peace of the heart. As that deepens and broadens, one begins to accept himself or realize himself as spiritual energy, that to understand that I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. That's amazing. And Krishna is explaining, and Srila Prabhupada is explaining, that when the mode of goodness actually deepens, when the quality of inner satisfaction of the heart becomes very profound and deep, one begins to realize that I'm not this body, I'm pure spirit soul. This is the Brahman platform. He's not a devotee yet, but he's already beginning to experience himself as pure spirit soul. And anyone can cultivate like this. And when one is free from this material conception of life, understanding that I'm not this body, he becomes peaceful and he cannot be agitated. Now let's look at the word for word. In the word for word, there's this word, these words. Manasa, control of the mind. Dhyana yoga para, always absorbed in a trance. Nityam, 24 hours a day. And Shanta, peaceful. So these, in other words, to be situated in a trance of inner peace. This is the meditation of the Brahmin, to be situated in this trance 24 hours a day, this trance of inner peace. In this way, the mind becomes completely under one's control. And then what is the result? Then the result is, next verse, 1854, thus, one who is thus transcendently situated, he realizes the Supreme Brahman. By deepening in this inner satisfaction of the heart, one becomes free of all these illusory concepts that I'm this body, I need sense gratification, I need respect from other people, I need to achieve, I need to be victorious in my efforts. So Krishna says, one who has this inner peace becomes situated at once one who's situated, thus one who is thus transcendently situated, at once realizes the Supreme Brahman. He never laments, nor desires to have anything. He's equally disposed to every living entity. He sees to everyone else as pure spirit soul. Regardless, a man, a mouse, a tiger, a cat, a dog. How does this work? Srila Prabhupada explains. Atmavan manyate jagat. This is a Vedic aphorism. Atmavan manyate jagat. This means that a person sees the world, the jagat, in terms of the quality of his own mind. Atmavan. Van means possess. What does he possess? That his mind, manyate, that his mind is filled with peace, equanimity, self-satisfaction, satisfaction. He experiences himself as pure spirit soul, and therefore his vision of a whole world, he sees everyone else as pure spirit soul. So, so Krishna says, he's equally disposed to every living entity by being in the mode of goodness like this. And then Krishna says, in that state of mind, in that state, he attains pure devotional service to me. In other words, before we can engage with a feeling of devotion, when there's satisfaction in the heart, nasochati nakangshati, verse 54, not desiring anything, because he's fulfilled within himself. Nakangshati, not lamenting over anything, condition oh, I've lost this, I've lost that. Then one can be a devotee. This is why Krishna has so much affection for the Brahmin. Because the Brahmin has qualified. His heart is free of all his personal desiring, egoism. So, this is very, very nice. So we should contemplate, we have to contemplate this. To live in this way, because it is the greatest gift we can give ourselves, because it enables us to feel devotional. Devotional, to feel love. So what is love? We talk about that, well, this is bhakti yoga. What is love? Love is very, very simple. Very, very simple. We hear of all these Krishna prema or bhava, but we're neophyte devotees. We're just beginning in our Krishna consciousness. We're not talking about Krishna prema. We're not talking about bhava. We're talking about what is love. Love is very simple. Love, it means that everyone in this world is trying to please themselves. Everyone is working so hard every day and struggling to please themselves. Love means it's the quality of the Brahman. In the mode of passion, one is trying to please oneself by working very hard. In the mode of ignorance, one is feeling all kinds of lamentation. But in the mode of goodness, something comes into focus, a new quality. One begins to take pleasure in the happiness and well-being of others. In the mode of goodness, the serving attitude comes into focus. Instead of trying to please himself, someone in the mode of goodness, just like there are people, what? They want to feed the poor, those who have no food. They want to give clothing to those who need clothing. They want to give education to the people. They start educational institutions charitably. And food, clothing, education. In this way, why? Why did they do this? Is it because they think they should do this? No, it's not because they think they should do this to be a good person. They enjoy it. They're taking pleasure in the happiness of others. That is all, without any desire for anything in return. This is the Brahminical quality of the mode of goodness. Now, if someone in the mode of goodness who already has this orientation, enjoying being of service to others, meets a pure devotee, the pure devotee says this service attitude is very good, very nice. But the real object of your service is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So now you can transfer the account. He's in a position where he can transfer because he's already in that mood where he's taking pleasure in the happiness of another. This is the definition of bhakti. Taking pleasure in the happiness of Krishna. Taking pleasure in the happiness of the pure devotee, spiritual master. One who's already in that mode of goodness can do this, can make this transfer under the direction of a pure devotee. He can understand where his serving mood should actually be directed. So, Krishna, going back to Krishna book, he's worshiping the Brahmana because he says, because you have this quality of self-satisfaction within your heart, therefore you're not affected by external events, external circumstances, external conditions, because you are fulfilled within yourself, because you're serene within yourself, you can become my devotee. So therefore, how important is this Brahminical quality of the mode of goodness? Now the thing is, everyone has this quality every day. Is the truth, but they don't realize it. People, when things go the way they plan, they're happy. Or if someone smiles at me, I become happy. If somebody gives me a compliment, I become happy, honor. If I achieve my goals, I go shopping. I finish my to-do list. When I go to town and everything worked, I become happy. This happiness quality. If someone gives me a fond embrace, another devotee, please accept my humble obeisances. Please let me hug you. We become happy. But we're thinking that this feeling of happiness is coming from external conditions. But we have these feelings for brief moments every day, everyone. But what we have to come to understand is that these feelings of inner happiness, of inner peace, of inner satisfaction, it's an inside job, and it's a choice that we have at every moment in our life. We can live with these feelings. Now I want to give you, how you get there doesn't matter. And just like Srila Prabhupada says, there are 9 forms of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Archanam, Bandhanam, etc. Hearing, chanting, remembering, worshiping, bowing down. So there's so many different kinds of devotional service, but Srila Prabhupada, even one of them is enough. Even one of them, Srila Prabhupada writes. Why is it that even one of them? Because it's not the activity itself that is so important, it's the attitude of the heart with which the activity is done. And that activity of the heart is common to all of these forms of devotional service. So to be in one of them is as good as being involved in all of them, if the devotion in the heart is there. So when things go our way and we feel happy, okay, When someone honors us, we become happy, okay? When someone embraces us, when we can do all of our chores and duties nicely. So this feeling, how we get there, we have to understand that it's a choice. Happiness is a choice. Love is a choice. A Brahmin lives in this way. He sees all living entities equal as spirit, soul. He doesn't discriminate between. So I want to make an experiment. I want you to make an experiment, because if you make this experiment, you'll have in your grip a tremendous jewel. You'll have in your grip a tremendous prize, a tremendous instrument or device by which you can be constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness. Because when the attitude of the heart is appropriate, we can begin to realize a sense of living reciprocation from our spiritual master, from Srila Prabhupada, and from Krishna. It immediately, when the devotional attitude is sweet, when the devotional attitude, when the sense of service comes into, how shall we say, into focus, and we direct this towards Srila Prabhupada, we can immediately begin to feel his loving reciprocation. And that loving reciprocation is so nice that it makes all other desires evaporate. This is how one becomes controlled, not by grim determination. This is how a devotee becomes vairagya, renounced. He's renounced because he already has fulfillment within his heart. So how to come to this stage that as soon as we become self-satisfied, as soon as we become joyful within the heart, we can become devotional. And we can feel love. And what is that love? It's simply the desire to give pleasure to another. This is the essence of bhakti, to give pleasure, to take pleasure in Krishna's pleasure, to take pleasure in Srila Prabhupada's pleasure. This is what bhakti is. This is love. Just like we said yesterday, when people go to a football game and their favorite team wins a point, scores a goal, they all stand up and cheer. Why? They're taking pleasure in the well-being, in the pleasure of another. This is love, but it's misdirected. But if the same love is directed towards our spiritual master, if this same love is directed towards Srila Prabhupada or Krishna, then that is our constitutional position as spirit soul, taking pleasure in their pleasure. So how do we come to this position of feeling self-satisfied? Because until we're self-satisfied, we can't feel this happiness for the happiness of others. One who is self-satisfied, he wants everyone to be satisfied. He wants to he wants to distribute Krishna consciousness. He wants to be pleasing to Srila Prabhupada. He wants to be pleasing to Krishna spontaneously. It's a natural desire of the heart of one who has satisfaction within. So how do we get to that point? So I just do a little experiment. Imagine, this is a simple little exercise anyone can do. Imagine the happiest moment that you can remember in your entire life. Maybe you were a little boy. Maybe you were a teenager. Maybe it's yesterday. But imagine a moment in your life in which you were the happiest you can ever remember. Now, remembering that event, try for the one moment. I'm asking you to please make this experiment, because if you make this experiment, you'll learn something that's so valuable. When you remember this happy moment in your life, whatever it is, relive that experience as if it's happening right now. Not as a distant memory, but feel that happiness, feel that joy. And everyone has had the moment of, whether it's a moment of success, a moment of winning something, a moment of receiving something, a moment of receiving the love of others. Everyone has had these moments. When you become situated deeply in this memory and feel that happiness again in your body, it's a feeling in your body, this happiness. Allow your eyes to relax. Put a peaceful smile in your eyes. Put a peaceful smile subtly on your lips, and remember this moment of inner happiness. And when you feel like this, let go of the memory and just feel this feeling. Just feel like this. And understand that you can feel like this independent of any memory, independent of any external condition. This inner happiness, this inner satisfaction is a choice. This is the mode of goodness. This is what Krishna was saying in chapter 17, verse 17. This satisfaction, mana prasada, satisfaction of the mind, is a choice to be cultivated, to live in this mode. What would he say in 1851, 53? In a trance of inner satisfaction. How much? Nitya. 24 hours, Srila Prabhupada translates. Living in that way. Yeah. Shanta, 1851 to 53. Inner peace, inner satisfaction, satisfaction of the heart. What does Krishna say? If you do this, you can come to Mad Bhakti Labhata. You can become a devotee, because when your heart is full in this way, you have the qualification. And this can be experienced. Just like go to this feeling of inner satisfaction that Krishna is recommending in Bhagavad Gita, and that Krishna, why is Krishna worshiping the Brahman, worshiping us if we attain this quality? This is Krishna's advice. This is that Krishna has so much affection for the Brahman who has this quality of self-satisfaction. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, this is the austerity of the mind in the mode of goodness, this inner serenity of the heart. And Krishna is saying about that one who comes to this will gradually experience himself as a spirit soul, Brahmabhuta Prasanat, joyful within the heart, free from desire, free from lamentation, and extending this vision. What is that vision? Like unto the sun as am I, is the prayer in Ishopanishad. He sees everyone as pure spirit soul. Atmavan manyate jagat. Mad bhaktim labhate. Then one can be devotee. Now, so how does this work? You have, that means that at any moment in our life, in our day, at any second, at any moment, one can be situated in this inner satisfaction of the heart. In other words, serenity is a choice. Inner peace, samodama, tapa, shocham, the qualities of the Brahman. The first quality is inner peace of the heart. Mana prasada, satisfaction of the mind. Prasanatma, joyful within the heart. This is a choice. We have to realize that we have this choice. And then, so happiness is a choice. And when one is truly happy in this way, he wants to extend this to everyone else. He sees everyone as pure spirit soul. So if we situate ourselves in this inner feeling of the heart, and I ask you to try and do this and make this experiment. Think of a flower and feel the love of the heart going to the flower. Think of a tree and feel the love of the heart going to the tree. Think of anything in nature, think of the humanity, think of all the creatures in the creation. Think of the whole creation. Think of the sunshine. Think of when there's love in the heart, this desire simply, when there's love in the heart and happiness in the heart, whatever comes to mind, this love flows to it without separate endeavor. A sense of love has no sense of direction, whether one is thinking of feeling about themselves or feeling about others is the same thing. According to the condition of our heart, this is our perception of the whole universe. Atmavan manyate jagat. This is the mode of goodness. To be situated in this way. So then, if we're situated in this way, and we think of Srila Prabhupada, immediately our love flows to Srila Prabhupada. And immediately we feel his love coming back to us. Therefore, the mode of goodness is so important. And it's a choice. It's not a mystery, it's a choice. Happiness is a choice. Love is a choice. To be situated in inner satisfaction is a choice. Krishna says this is the austerity of the mind. It's our choice to accept this austerity or not. And if we feel this way, what did Krishna say? If you're situated like this, Mad Bhakti Labhate Param, you can become a devotee. Because you spontaneously, if you have love in your heart, it flows to whoever and whatever you focus on. So if you focus on Srila Prabhupada or Krishna and Krishna, the love automatically flows in that way. Automatically, spontaneously, simply by being in this stage, in this station, on this platform of Manaprasada. That's why Krishna says, when you come to this platform, you can become my devotee. Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. And anyone can do this. So we should, as a Brahmin, as a student, as a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he wants so much that we become Brahmins. Because a Brahmin can become a Vaishnava. And the Brahmin who has love in his heart can transfer the account and direct that same loving, joyous feeling towards the pure Krishna's pure devotee in Krishna. Mad Bhakti Labhate Param. And it's all effortless. It's just a question of tuning our instrument. The body mind is like an instrument. If you play a musical instrument, if it's before you start, it has to be tuned. Otherwise, everything comes out uncomfortable, not pleasing. But if the instrument is tuned, whatever we play, it comes out harmonious. In the same way, our mind and body, if it's nicely tuned in the mode of goodness, then we become devotional. We become harmonious. And as soon as we have these feelings in our heart of affection for Srila Prabhupada, there are people who they have great admiration for the indigenous people of the planet. They live in, there are tribes in the Amazon, etc., etc. They have great, why is this? Because these people have this sense of connection with all of nature. They have a spiritual, just like we have the Virata Rupa, the whole universe. It's one stage of devotion, to feel this sense of connection. What is the secret of feeling this sense of connection, this sense of interaction with everything? It's all a question of the condition of the heart. The sense of the sense of the degree to which we have inner peace, inner satisfaction, inner love, acceptance of others, acceptance of self, automatic. Like unto the sun as am I, to feel ourselves brilliant, spirit soul. The degree to which we have that, our sense of connection is proportionate. Therefore, our sense of connection with Srila Prabhupada, with Krishna, is immediately there, proportionate to the amount of inner peace, inner love that we carry in our heart. So this is tuning our instrument. This is when our when our devotional service is not simply Srila Prabhupada uses this word, rubber stamp. Rubber stamp, eh? That you when you go through in the airport and you go, they stamp your passport. It means officially, it's official. We let you come into our country. Rubber stamp. So instead of, we do so many things in our devotional service, and we rubber stamp them that this is devotional service. I'm painting the temple, devotional service. But instead of it being officially devotional service, it can feel like devotional service. Not rubber stamp, but a condition of the heart. So this is available to us, and this is why Srila Prabhupada so much stresses that we come to the Brahminical platform. It's not a question of being a good person or a bad person. People don't understand what is morality. Especially in the Western world, morality, like the four regulative principles, it's not about being a good person or a bad person. It's a way in which, if we behave like this, our hearts become lighter, brighter. In other words, it's a way of tuning our instrument. So morality, for every religion, the first thing is do's and don'ts. Do like this. Before, even in the Hatha Yoga, before asana, before postures and breathing, is the do's and don'ts. These rules. Why? Because it brightens the heart. So the sense of connection is there as much as our heart becomes bright. It's automatic. And then we can feel the presence of Srila Prabhupada. We can feel the presence of Krishna in the holy name. We can feel the presence of Krishna in our devotional service. And we can feel reciprocation of love. So this ability to be situated in inner satisfaction enables us to have this sense of connection and to feel the presence. This is so important because this is the most powerful way in which we become real devotees, pure devotees. Because when we feel the presence of the Krishna's pure devotee, as we were saying yesterday, pure devotion is as much infectious in the good sense, as an infectious disease in the bad sense. Pure devotion is infectious. Infection of the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe the taste of devotion. In the association of a pure devotee, one's own heart becomes saturated with devotion. In Nectar of Devotion, chapter 12, Hiranyakashipu is talking to Prahlad Maharaj, and he says, association is like a crystal stone. What is he saying? What does he mean? He says, he means that Association acts just like a mirror, the mirror of the mind. Our heart is like a mirror, the mirror of the heart. Association is just like a crystal stone that reflects everything that's placed before it. If we can associate nicely with our spiritual master, our heart will reflect his qualities. This is why we have to associate with the pure devotee. But what is the only condition, Srila Prabhupada writes in chapter 12 of Nectar of Devotion? The mirror has to be clean before it can, in order to reflect Srila Prabhupada's qualities, the mirror of our heart has to be clean. What is that cleanliness? The satisfaction of the heart that is not looking in all the wrong places for happiness, the heart that is not grumbling, the heart that is not angry, the heart that is not envious, the heart that is not resentful, the heart that is filled with inner satisfaction and love. That heart is the mirror that can reflect. That heart enables us to sense his presence. And when we sense his presence, we become saturated with his devotional qualities. Therefore, association is like a crystal stone, means that we should know how to associate with Krishna's pure devotee, because that is how we become devotees. And therefore, this inner cleanliness of the mirror of the mind, mirror of the heart, is our greatest asset. This, therefore, to be situated in this Brahminical platform, on this Brahminical, is our greatest asset. It's the doorway. Krishna says, when you become joyful within your heart, prasanatma, and no more hankering, no more na sochati na kangshati, 1854. And you extend this love to all other human beings. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. Sarva, all. Bhute, living entities. Equanimity. Sama mad bhaktin labha, then you can become a devotee. So from so many sides, whether it's in Krishna book, where Krishna is worshiping the Brahman for having these qualities, whether it's in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is saying that this is the quality, this is the austerity of the mind and the mode of goodness. This is, whether it's Srila Prabhupada saying over and over and over that he wants a society of Brahmins. Develop this Brahminical qualities, because then Mad Bhaktim Labhavate Param, then you can become a devotee, because now you can associate and feel the presence of the pure devotee, feel the energy of the pure devotee. Just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur prays. He says, I come before you, my spiritual master. I bow before you with all the deepest respect. My heart is open to you. For thus I may have the energy by which I can know you correctly, by which I can understand you. And what will be the result when I understand you? Then by chanting the holy name with devotional feeling. All of my offenses will cease. This is the prayer of Bhakti. Then he says, oh, another prayer by Bhakti Vinod Thakur in our songbook. Oh, you who is always absorbed in tasting the nectar of the holy name. When will I hold your feet until the end of time? When, oh when, will that day be mine? This is association. In that association, why he wants to hold those feet, why he wants to take that position, humble position, because by offering, like he says in the previous prayer, thus I may have the energy by which I can understand you correctly, understand your devotional heart. Then I can begin to chant. This means we should be living, always feeling Srila Prabhupada's presence. Because in his presence, our hearts become saturated with devotional feeling. Again, 1:5:25, Srimad Bhagavatam, pure devotion is infectious, in the good sense, like an infectious disease. Infection of the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe, drink in this taste of devotion. But before we can do that, or as we said in Nectar of Devotion, this association acts like a mirror, that our heart begins to reflect the qualities of the pure devotee. But the mirror has to be that clean. Then as soon as we're in touch with the pure devotee, we can feel what his devotion is. And that cleanliness is this inner manaprasada, which Krishna said, that's why Krishna says, as soon as you have this quality, mad bhaktim labhate param. So this is a science. It's a science. How all these things fit together, how all of this works. We go now. The idea is, this is the difference between mechanically doing all of our sadhana and doing it with devotion. Where will that devotion come from? We acquire it in the association of the pure devotee. How do we get the association? Our hearts have to be clean and open. And then we can have that. Now, how long does this take? Does it have to take 50 years? Like a person like myself, who's trying to cultivate these qualities now, before I leave my body? The truth is that one can do this in the first week of joining Krishna consciousness. The truth is that anyone who understands the science of Krishna consciousness can do this immediately. Develop this quality of inner satisfaction of the heart, which is the doorway to our devotional life. Become Brahmanically qualified in the mode of goodness, but which enables not hankering, not lamenting, which enables us to have love for each other, just like you were talking about. There's this subject of love and trust, love and trust in our society. Why devotees are not living in love and trust? Why devotees are in different groups and they're not agreeing with each other? and they're envious of each other, and they're criticizing each other. It's not the objective reality. It's the condition of the heart. When one is satisfied within his heart, he sees the beauty in everyone. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. He sees everyone with great equanimity. He sees himself with great equanimity. Like unto the sun as am I. He sees his own spiritual nature, and he sees everyone else's spiritual nature. Atmavan manyate jagat. We see the world in terms of the condition of our own heart. If I have disagreement with other devotees, it means that my own heart is dirty. And that's how it manifests. That's how it shows that. So if we want to have peace with each other and harmony with each other, we have to come to this mode of goodness. It means we're in passion and ignorance. That's all it means. So we have to rise up to the mode of goodness. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. See the true equality of all living beings. Then we will be in peace and harmony with each other. Automatically, he's in peace and harmony with all living beings. The dog and the dog eater. What to speak of other devotees? So wonderful. So when we're not in this harmony and love with each other, it means that we're seeing the world through a dirty heart. And we're seeing the world as an expression of the condition of our own heart. That, in other words, the world is like a mirror. What we see outside of ourselves shows us what is the condition of our heart. When our heart is beautified, we'll see beauty in everyone, in everything. So when we look at other people, when we look at this world, when we look at the non-devotee, even the non-devotee, therefore compassion, automatic compassion and the desire for their well-being, not dirty karmi. No, pure spirit soul who's in the depths of the modes of passion and ignorance, suffering. How can I help? This is what Srila Prabhupada wants. This is the way Srila Prabhupada sees us. He sees us in terms of our eternal real nature as pure spirit soul, and invites us to come to this position. And all of this springs naturally. There we have this chemical. There's a chemical. If your door is squeaking, the hinges, this chemical, they call it WD-40. I don't know if they have it in other countries, but in America, we have this condition of the heart of mana prasada, of shama, of prasanatma, inner peace, inner joy, inner love. This is the WD-40. Lets us go through that door into the domain, into the platform, and enter onto the platform of devotional service, of spiritual life. So this is first. This is first. Yeah, we want to be devotee. Clean up our act. clean up, clean up our heart. Come to this platform. Come to this position. And we did this exercise. Anyone can do this. Before I chant my japa, I check the condition of my heart. Am I feeling this inner satisfaction that enables me to feel Srila Prabhupada's presence, that enables me to have this sense of connection, that enables me to feel his love and his reciprocation? I check myself before I begin. Before I begin, just like before you enter the temple, you take a shower. In the same way, before we begin our devotional activities, our sadhana, we become clean within our heart, bright and clean. And then we can feel our sense of connection, and then we can sense his beautiful devotional qualities, become infected, imbibe the taste of devotion, and saturate our practice of devotion in his association, under his guidance. Always in his association, always under his guidance, being saturated with the devotion of his heart. And then we see, okay, we start, okay, but then we forget. We start and we forget. We start and we forget. But then we realize that this is my real shelter. We say, ha ha, Prabhu Kora Doya Deho More Pada. Oh Master, be merciful unto, give me the shade of your lotus feet. What is that shade? I'm always burning under the glaring sun of Maya. In his association, we have that shade that Maya cannot touch us. So we're praying. We're beginning to beg. When will I hold your feet until the end of time? When will that day be mine? So that prayer is based on realization that in that association we have shelter from all of this from Maya, from illusory conceptions and feelings of life. Why? Because we're sensing his devotional feeling, and our hearts are becoming saturated with his devotional feeling. And we want to live that way, and therefore the Thakur prays, when, oh when will that day be mine, when I'll hold your feet until the end of time? Is it some dry thing, holding somebody's feet? No, it's when I do it with the attitude of receptivity and feel his presence and feel his love, that I can become feeling that same love, and I can engage in that devotional service under his guidance. So it's an apprenticeship program. Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada, we're working under the direction of the master. It's not a it's not a user's manual. Our textbooks are not user's manual. It's not a user's manual. It's an apprenticeship program. We have a direct relationship with the personality who is our teacher. And under his guidance, we can practice and cultivate devotion, and all that is necessary is a heart that's open and clean enough to sense his presence, and therefore we come back to the mode of goodness. First things first. It's not a mechanical process. It's a process of love. But where will that love come from? In his association, we can engage under his guidance. And he is love personified, love for Krishna. Therefore, again, so okay. So you have the power, each of us has the power to come into this state of inner satisfaction of the heart. This is not a profound, this is not profound spiritual life. This is the beginning. This is the mode of goodness, to live in this inner satisfaction, this inner serenity, this inner heartfelt peace and love, so that we can become devotees, so that we can feel a devotee is one who feels this devotion. That's what a devotee is. So we're here, we have a chance to cultivate. So we're so fortunate that we have a teacher who's a pure devotee. Without being in association with a pure devotee, no one can become a pure devotee. Okay. Any questions? Any answers? Any comments? Does any of this make sense?
Yes.
Lots of questions.
Yeah.
Okay, shoot.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
No, I'm asking guys. Prabhuji, first of all, we really want to thank you for such a wonderful, God, so deep, so detailed, and fantastic. I'm gonna watch this video at least 10 times in the next week. There's so much in there. It's really like the Vedic mantras. In one word, there's so much information. So, where can I start? A lot of the discussion today was about, of course, the main topic, building up the mode of goodness, coming to the mode of goodness, which purifies the mirror of the heart, to then be able to relate to Prabhupada and withdraw from him or suck from him, if you like, or what did it say? So emanate. Prema emanates from Prabhupada. So when it emanates, I should be ready to absorb it. And if I've got a shield not able to absorb it, it's a problem for me, and I don't want that. So is that the only way, or is I want to ask you, I'm a lazy guy, so I want a shortcut. If I associate with some devotee like you, who has already that emanation from Prabhupada coming to them, and they're feeling and experiencing that love for Prabhupada, is it a quicker way to just sit around and associate with somebody who has that feeling, and I see it daily kind of in their expressions and in their dealings with Prabhupada, who's not physically present? Will that awaken it quicker?
As I say before, I'm a neophyte devotee. I'm trying to understand the science of Krishna consciousness. Neophyte. I'm still a conditioned soul. I still identify with this body and mind. I'm not even on a liberated platform. We should be a source of encouragement to each other, of course, and that's why we should associate. One of the reasons we should associate with each other. Of course, we have to be able to love each other, a society of love and trust. Srila Prabhupada wanted to create a society of love and trust. So we encourage each other in that way, but always Srila Prabhupada in the center. A person, that's why the spiritual master has to be a Mahabhagavata, as we say. It's in our literature. Because he holds such power in that way. So much love for Krishna. Why would we? Therefore, he's always our focus, always our center. We can become encouraged by another devotee, our God brother, if he's nicely situated in meditation on Srila Prabhupada. This can be encouraging to us, but the encouragement should be that we also should turn to Srila Prabhupada. Actually, there's no other way. Narottam Das Thakur, in his prayer, he prays for the association of Ramchandra, his god brother. In that prayer, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Kora More, please be merciful unto me. In that purport, Haha Prabhu Nityananda, Premananda Sukhi, you're always joyful. And Ami Bado Dukhi, I'm always so upset about things. If you put your glance on me, I can also become happy like you. That Srila Prabhupada, the spiritual master, is the form of Nityananda, the way in the, what is the proper word? The expression of Nityananda's mercy as the pure devotee. If he can glance upon us in a nice way, how do we get that glance? By approaching him with the open heart. So Srila Prabhupada's last lines in his purportful commentary to this bhajan is that, therefore he says, we should always be praying for the blessing of the pure devotee. Always be praying for the blessing, he says, of the previous acharya, of the acharyas, and always associating with pure devotees. These are his words. We should always be praying for the mercy of the acharyas and always be associating with pure devotees. He says, and that is the purport of this song. Just like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, every chapter, praying at the lotus feet of Rupa Raghunath, always desiring their mercy. What is that mercy? It's to imbibe the taste of their devotion. Praying at the lotus feet of Rupa Raghunath, always desiring their mercy. I, Krishna Das, recite this Chaitanya Charitamrita, doing what? Following in their footsteps. This is Anuga. We are Prabhupada. So we say, praying at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Always desiring his mercy. I try to engage in pure devotional service, following in his footsteps. Means imbibing his taste of his devotion and trying to live on that platform in my devotional life. Only from the Mahabhagavat can we receive that kind of mercy. That is my understanding. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Makes wonderful sense.
See, again and again, wherever we go, in the books, in the prayers, in this book, in that book, that's Srila Prabhupada, in this prayer, in that prayer, in the words, it's all the same. It all comes down to this relationship we have with our spiritual master. It's not simply, it's a living fact, and he's a transcendental person. Time and space materially have transcendental to time and space. We all have a living relationship. Now, 50 years ago, 500, 1,000, 10,000 years from now, people, individuals, and you know what? In the next generations, after us, they will have a deeper relationship with Srila Prabhupada than we have today. Those who were closest to him have become the greatest defenders. Because in Nectar of Instruction, Srila Prabhupada says that it's very dangerous for a neophyte to come too close to a pure devotee because he doesn't know how to see him. He thinks he's an ordinary human being. Therefore, in our books, again and again and again, one must not think of the Acharya as an ordinary human being. No, he's a Mahabhagavata. He says we should not try to see him from his external appearance. This is a Nectar of Instruction. We should try to understand his internal devotional feelings, so we can imbibe the taste of his. This is the process. This is what. This is the process of how to become a devotee. No, it's not a mechanical, I do this, I do this, I do this, and I'll be a devotee. No, that's the form. But what is the content in that form? It's his devotional content that he shares with us. So that is again and again and again and again, coming back to this point. It's amazing. And then everything, then we say, oh, I'm so forgetful. I become distracted in so many. Oh, you who tasting always the nectar of the name, when will I hold your feet until the end of time? When will I come to that point of intelligence? When will that day be mine? Ha ha, Prabhu. Oh, Master, be merciful unto me. Give me this shade of your lotus feet. That desire starts to grow when we get a little taste of what it can be like to have a relationship with him. We want more, we must have it because it shelters us. It gives us the shade from the burning of Maya, the glaring of Maya. And we begin to pray for it. Please let me always feel your connection. We pray this every morning. From you, Krishna, this love of Krishna emanates. And if I can catch that emanation, my ignorance will be destroyed. Prema bhakti yaha hoite, avidya vinashayate. Please give me this. Ha ha Prabhu Koradoya. Deo more padas. Please give me your mercy, the shade of your lotus feet. See, this is. It's all in our prayers. So we have to realize or begin to understand what this all means. And it's a beautiful science of Krishna consciousness.
Sure. Ishan Prabhu, just one more question on this point, if you don't mind.
100.
There are other devotees waiting also. So
Yeah.
Prahlad, you'll come in, but first is Bhakta Gregory or Gregory Prabhu. He'll ask next one, and then we come to you. Okay, so don't worry, we have time. Ishan Prabhu, I've also seen and I've heard where devotees, disciples of Prabhupada, or no, actually they were not disciples at the time, just came in physical proximity of Prabhupada, and I've heard it so often that some start to cry. You know, this is men and women start to cry. Some just faint to the floor. One Mataji was even just in the Rath Yatra and she didn't know Prabhupada was there, and just her whole body hair started to stand on end, and she didn't know what was going on. She turned around, then she saw Prabhupada for the first time in her life. So it seems like there are situations where the emanation of the pure devotee, that prema bhakti, is experienced by people, and you know, were they in the mode of goodness from previous life, or is it some special shakti from Prabhupada, special mercy, just a teaching for us, an example for us? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that is his power. He's an avatar. There are different avatars, forms of Krishna. And one of the avatars is called Shakti Avesh. Shakti means the energy, that Krishna puts a certain energy into certain living entities, so that he's as powerful as Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says even more powerful sometimes. He writes that. So, yeah. So we should not only have these things for one moment, but we should live in that sense. That Krishna, he's the Srila Prabhupada. Krishna is in everyone's heart. And from him comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Krishna gives us intelligence, gives us the spiritual, the Acharya, the Shaktavesh avatar, is the external manifestation of the Lord in the heart. Srila Prabhupada is as powerful as the all-pervasive supersoul. He's the external manifestation of the Lord in the heart. He's like God himself. He's a pure devotee. He doesn't say but he's empowered by Krishna to have this wonderful. Therefore, he had some 8,000 disciples, and every one of them can have a personal relationship with him, feeling within their heart at the same time. Imagine that. He can be the spiritual master of the whole universe. He is. He's called Jagat Guru. He can. Yeah. So this is Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, we should not think ordinary human being, but we should know that he is the form of Krishna for teaching us how to be devotee.
Jai. Ishan Prabhu, thank you so much for the wonderful answer. Now we have Gregory Prabhu, your wonderful friend from the UK.
Hare Krishna, Ishan Prabhu. Please accept my obeisances. I have a question. Can you hear me clearly? You can? Jai. Okay. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, so perhaps you could help me get a better understanding of these austerities of the mind that you spoke about in your class. At the beginning it said one was serenity, and then the next was gravity, and then there was a few others. And I was wondering, are they all practiced simultaneously? Because it seems that, like, you know, serenity could be at odds with gravity. You know, like, is serenity there as a base, and then gravity is an expansion on it that is sometimes used and sometimes not used? Or is it that serenity and they're practiced at different times? Because you said if someone is not exhibiting serenity, that means someone cleanness in the heart. But if gravity was being expressed, that may be at odds with it. So perhaps you could clear up this confusion I have raised.
One who's serene is has this great weight, just like guru means heavy. So gravity, gravity, what is gravity? The force that holds the planets in relation to each other, or the force that holds us to the feet, our feet to the ground. We don't float away, but gravity holds us to the earth. So what is holding us to the, if we are in this devotional mood with love and devotion and satisfaction of the mind, we won't float away into the arms of Maya. We'll have this is gravity. We'll be steadily fixed in devotion. So gravity and devotion and gravity, and it's the same thing. It's like this. Consider a jewel. Okay? I have a jewel here. I don't think it's real, but I think it's a diamond. It's on my little altar. Here, I'll show. Can you, I don't know if you can see. Can you see this glittering a little bit? Now, a jewel, if it goes to, when they pull them out of the ground, it's not all shiny like this, but they polish it. And every jewel, it has different facets, different faces. Many, you can have many different facets for the same jewel. So there's the jewel of the heart. And the heart has different facets, but they're all the part of the same jewel. In other words, a devotee will have 25 different qualities, right? The qualities of a pure devotee. So being absorbed in one quality automatically puts one in touch with all the other qualities.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. It works like that. So they're not really separate. They're just different expressions of the same heart of devotion. Different facets of the jewel of the heart. But so to be to be absorbed in any of them. But to help us to understand, Krishna is guiding us to this inner satisfaction principle. It's a doorway. Then all the other facets come into play. One becomes self-controlled. Why? Because he's satisfied within. So he's not looking outside for something. No, he's controlled without separate endeavor. So one who has inner satisfaction of the heart satisfaction, he's controlled. He's not angry. Nothing disturbs him. He's tolerant. He's grave. Nobody can move him from that position. It's all the qualities, but this is a very nice way to begin, is to find this. Therefore, Krishna worships the Brahman for his quality of self-satisfaction, to find this inner satisfaction of the heart, which we read in the Krishna book. So it opens all of the qualities, but in our teachings, it's stressed that this is the doorway, this is the threshold that brings all the qualities into. It's a guideline. It's for our advantage to take it. We can take advantage of this information. It's a science, and it works like that. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah, Prabhu. Also, I want to ask a little extra question to that then. That is that, like, so can it be said that when you are practicing one of them, you will always have a little bit of one of the other ones with you? And then also that you know, as you said, if you don't have serenity being displayed, that means there's some uncleanness in the heart. So also for the other ones, if they are not displayed, this is also uncleanness of the heart, is it?
Ask me that again. If
You said if serenity and peacefulness is not displayed, that means there is some uncleanness in the heart. So
there's 3 modes of material nature. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains in the 3rd chapter that when the pure spirit soul comes in touch with the mode of passion, his eternal love for Krishna, it becomes manifested as self-centeredness, lust. But in other words, it's the same love, but it becomes manifested in a not so nice way. Just like pure white light, bright light. If you put it through a green lens, it makes a green beam of light. If you put it through a red lens, it becomes a red beam of light. It's the same light, but it's being expressed in different ways. And if you put it through a black lens, and no light at all. So the modes of nature are like that. The modes of nature mean everything we're doing is an expression of love for Krishna. All of our selfishness is an expression of love of Krishna, but it's being manifested or being projected through the modes of nature. Amazing. And it takes on these different shapes. So it takes on these different forms of expression. Every desire we've ever had in our life is a desire for Krishna. It's the same desire, it's the same love, but it's expressed in terms of how it's being projected through the different modes of nature. So if we can come into the mode of goodness, instead of it being self-centered and selfish, in that mode of nature, that same love becomes a serving feeling, awakens in our heart. We want to be pleasing to others instead. And we take our everyone's looking for pleasure. Everyone's looking for satisfaction. But in the mode of goodness, one finds pleasure in being of service. That's the way it manifests. And under proper guidance, that serving mood can now be transferred to the real object of our love, of our service. And we get again in our constitutional position. In other words, the mode of goodness becomes a doorway into our spiritual life in that way. Because that love, which was being expressed as selfishness, is now being expressed as a desire to do service. So that's why we have to cultivate, because then we can transfer the account to Krishna, and Krishna's pure devotee. I'm hoping this makes some sense. I'm hoping this.
Yeah, it does, Prabhu. I mean, like what I got from what you said was that because it's in the mode of goodness, any lack of austerity of the mind means there must be some uncleanness. There must be something wrong. Like any lack, there must be something contaminated. Yes.
Yeah, we have to be on guard, vigilant, observing ourselves and seeing, and just like when we went to school, when I was a little boy, I'm still a little boy, but I have an older body. When I was going to school, we used to have fire drill. Do you still have that? You ever have fire drill?
Yeah, everywhere. So everywhere, even
Okay.
all over the place. Yeah, they do.
And that means everything is quiet in the school. Everybody's doing their business, but then an alarm goes off,
Yeah.
ringing, right? So then we know that there's danger in the house and we have to get out, fire. So whenever we are feeling anger, whenever we are feeling resentment, whenever we are feeling sad, whenever we have lamentation, whenever we have a hankering for sense gratification, that is an alarm going off, telling us that we have fallen out of devotional service, fallen out of the mode of goodness. So we have to be watching ourselves as soon as we have these inauspicious feelings that telling us that we've lost our footing, and then we can correct ourselves like that. So we have to be very vigilant to practice devotional service, especially people like you and me, well, at least myself. We're just babies, we're just beginning, and we have so much, for millions of lifetimes we've been in the modes of passion and ignorance, self trying to be satisfied independent of devotional service. Yeah, wanting to feel satisfaction by eating another animal, fighting. The animals are always fighting. Who's going to be the strongest in every herd, in every pack, in every group of horses, in every group of everything, wolves. There's a leader, and then they fighting amongst themselves, and then I living in the forest. I was taking a walk, and a deer ran in front of me at top speed, and behind the deer a pack of coyotes that want to put their teeth into him and tear him to pieces. We've been all that for so many lifetimes. So it's so deeply ingrained in us, these self-centered, inauspicious propensities. And now we're trying to, we're in therapy. We're in therapy. And the head psychologist, the head therapist is our spiritual master. He's saying, not like this, like this. Follow me. That means Prabhupadanuga. So we have a job to do. As we're serious, we become very, very vigilant, watching these alarms going off. A red flag is raised. It's telling us, oh, I've fallen away. Oh, I have a feeling of resentment towards my god brother. I have a feeling of animosity. Oh, I'm envious of that one. Instead of appreciating, I'm finding fault. Oh, how delicious it is to find fault. Okay? I'm trying to find happiness by seeing myself as something wonderful. By how? By seeing another person as something less.
Exactly.
I'm enjoying that. I'm relishing. So Srila Prabhupada says the bees are attracted to the honey and the flies are attracted to the stool. So our minds are like the flies, attracted to this stool of inauspicious ways. So we have to be because it's so deep in us for so many millions of lifetimes. So we have to be very vigilant and observe ourselves closely and recognize, oh, I'm in Maya.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu, for the answer. If there was time at the end, I could ask a follow-up question to that, but I've taken a lot of time. So Prahlad Chandra Das Prabhu is waiting, and maybe there's other devotees who also have questions.
Okay, but I don't mind. I don't mind. I'm thanking you that you're allowing me to speak to you. Really.
Just a little thing I lost.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Jai.
I just wanted to say, please accept my humble obeisances. And it is my birthday today, and I really feel like Srila Prabhupada was giving me your talk today as a birthday present. It was deeply heart-touching. I feel like you could establish my relationship to Srila Prabhupada much more, and my understanding for spiritual things could grow. And I will also listen to this lecture. Like Balaram Prabhu said, a lot of times it was really a blessing to have that. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Ishan Prabhu, this is Advaita Prabhu. He's been serving here for how many years? About 2 years with Mathurapati Prabhu, and him, Govinda Prabhu, and Dinabandhu Prabhu, and Madan, was it Madan Mohan? Is that his name? Madan Mohan?
Mohan Gopal.
Mohan Gopal Prabhu. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 are central to the wonderful activities that are going on here in the German Raganuga Yatra.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prahlad Chandra, where just here first. Sure. Prahlad Chandra, Prabhu, are you?
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Happy birthday to Advaita Prabhu. Hope your birthday is going well. And my question was initially, and I have a follow-up to that. How do you know that that you receive the mercy of Sri Krishna, and can't that mercy be withdrawn? And my follow-up question is, the emotions you say that are related to passion and ignorance, you say to reflect upon those, and I guess it's easier said than done to reflect upon those and then just go back to the mode of goodness. I don't really see how that works. How you can have certain emotions and yet that you can somehow or another go back. So could you please answer these questions?
We have to, the mercy, Srila Prabhupada will say at times, is not that the mercy is withdrawn as much as the mercy is always available, but we're not taking. Of course, if we're offensive to anyone, they will withdraw from us. But in general, it's a question of how much we want to take. Then, when we have inauspicious feeling, this body-mind complex, it can become, what is the word? Infected. It can become, I'm looking for words, but it can take on a quality, and it becomes more difficult to assert a more beautiful quality, a more auspicious quality, if we allow that. When a person becomes angry, the whole body becomes requalified. The chemistry changes, everything changes. So we have to be very careful so that we can do it, we can pull ourselves. So then we go back to the holy name. Because the holy name, as we were saying the other day, as Srila Prabhupada said, even we don't have devotion, but do it mechanically, it will bring us up to the mode of goodness. Even if we're not doing it devotionally, to absorb, just simply to absorb ourselves in the vibration of the holy name is so powerful that it will elevate us back to the mode of goodness, and our hearts will become light. Those feelings will be cleansed. And then from that position, we can again become devotional, and we can begin to again to feel devotional. So nice. So whether we're chanting with love of God, which it's all of our desire to come to the, or whether we're chanting in the very beginning stages, there's stages of chanting the holy name. It's always auspicious, and that is our protection, and that will keep us in goodness. That's why Srila Prabhupada said chanting 24 hours. Always chanting, always keeping. Then Krishna, you're always in association. We are always in association with Krishna through the sound vibration of the holy name. That's the sound incarnation. It's not different from Krishna personally. It's the sound incarnate in the form of sound. Imagine that God can appear in the form of sound, and his personal appearance, his personal form is in that sound. And when we realize that sound, we'll see Krishna, like Srila Prabhupada said in that quote the other day, face to face. So the holy name, but if we don't have these realizations, even just to chant the holy name will bring us again back to the mode of goodness. When we've fallen into us inauspiciousness, this is our lifeline again to pull us out of this swamp. It's like Srila Prabhupada says, he gives the example of a donkey has fallen into a stool pit. That's our inauspicious feeling, okay? That you're talking about. Donkey has fallen into the stool pit up to his neck, okay? And the man is coming with a rope, putting around the neck, trying to pull the donkey out. But the donkey has been moving his head, twisting his neck, because there's some grass on the side of the stool pit. And he's eating the grass. That means people like you and me, we're in our inauspicious feeling, and we don't want to give him up. We want to be angry. We want to be resentful. We want to find fault. We want, we're enjoying it. We're in the stool pit up to our neck, and so we become attached to trying to enjoy in a way that is called dysfunctional. It won't give us pleasure. There's happiness in the mode of goodness, happiness in the mode of passion, and happiness in the mode of ignorance. Krishna says that it's miserable in the beginning and miserable in the end. But we become attached like that. We're like the donkey in the stool pit, and Srila Prabhupada is trying to pull us out. So actually, we have to, by intelligence, understand that, yes, now I'm enjoying being hateful and fault finding, and I don't want to give it up, but it's not going to make me happy. Therefore, I should chant the holy name and elevate myself to a higher mode where I have clearer intelligence, what is going to be my real self-interest. So we have to do that. We're in therapy. Spirit souls, we're in a disease condition of the spirit soul condition. So we have to, yeah, it's a job. Also, it's hard. It's not easy. We have all these propensities, but it's a science. So we know we've suffered. Have we? It's a question. You know, when I used to work at Wells Fargo Bank, when I left the movement after Srila Prabhupada left, Srila Prabhupada departed, so I left the movement because my godbrothers, some of them were pretending that they were pure devotees. So, so ludicrous. So anyways, in the bank, there's a notice board in the bank where different people who work there. It was a big office, 150 cubicles. There was a notice board, and individual employees could post their comments to each other. And someone put a comment on the bulletin board. Are we happy yet? We're working so hard, right? Are we happy yet? So it's the same thing. Krishna put us in this material world, and it's a source of great suffering, and we're trying to enjoy in this way. Are we happy yet? Is it working for us? So when we know that it's not working for us, then we take the medicine. And it's a choice, and that's our freedom. And gradually it becomes sweeter, sweeter. Just like Srila Prabhupada says, that a person with the liver disease, jaundice, the sugar tastes bitter to him. That's a symptom of the disease. But sugar is the medicine for the liver disease of jaundice. And the more he takes it, so in the beginning, even doing what we know is best for us, it's not so sweet. But if we keep taking, gradually we become healthier and we'll want more. It'll become more spontaneous. We'll become more intelligent. But at the beginning, you and me, even though we would rather be in the stool pit and tasting envy and fault finding and so many and lamentation and anger and so many things, and thinking, I want to stay here. Gradually, are we happy yet? Is it working for us? So intelligent person has to make a choice. You and me, we're faced with the same challenge. Makes sense a little bit.
Prahlad Prabhu is gone.
He's gone.
Oh, he's gone. Prahlad has left.
His connection was low, I think.
Oh,
No,
He had a bad connection. It was dropping off.
also his.
Prahlad's. Maybe he will come back, but Ishan Prabhu Prahlad has left.
Yeah.
Because maybe some connection problem. So
Sure.
if there's anyone else with any other questions to go before, I could ask the follow-up question if there is nobody else, or someone else can. Anyone? Anybody online?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Prabhu. So there is like what like when we are trying to practice, shall I say like this? The strength that tempers our serenity, and the and the shall we say the tolerance that strengthens our gravity. Does the strength come from the same source? And whether it does or not, is there a way that we can get more of this strength?
We get more. You know, there's one prayer in our songbook where the disciple prays to the spiritual master, and he says, "Your mercy is all that I'm made of." Srila Prabhupada is our source of strength. We can try to do it all on our own power, but Srila Prabhupada is our real strength. If we can just become clean enough to open to him with a frank and open heart, this is Srila Prabhupada's expression, with a frank and open heart to approach. If we can just approach him nicely, then immediately our power to be devotee is multiplied unlimitedly. Therefore, Haha Prabhu, or O Master, be merciful unto me. Avidya Vinashaya, by him our ignorance is destroyed. But how is it destroyed? That he shares his love of Krishna with us. And we become saturated with that. That makes all the impurities go away. He's our strength. Always coming back to the same. So many questions, so many questions, but always the answer is the same. That Krishna consciousness is so simple like that. Simple for the simple. And one can be Krishna conscious in a second. Srila Prabhupada says, let go of the grass on the side of the stool pit and transfer, take that. He's our strength. He's our mercy. He's giving us the lifeline, and he can pull us out of the stool pit.
It's a good, yeah. That's a nice,
Thank you, Prabhu.
that's a nice analogy, Prabhu. Prahlad Chandra has returned, and the analogy of the grass on the stool pit is very, very apt to transfer where we get our strength from and where it should be coming from. Sometimes, yeah. So, yeah, I'll leave it back to Prahlad because perhaps he can explain whether he heard your answer or what you were. He had a follow-up question also. Yeah.
Go where it's a little bit more quiet. That was pretty much the gist of it.
Prabhu, can I give you a suggestion? Turn off your video because you've got low internet connection, and just the sound, so that will work much better.
Okay, does this work?
Much better. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. I missed the last 3 minutes. I was due to bad connection, I was kicked out.
No worries. You can watch the replay.
No, it's not. Because you didn't.
Yeah.
You have to later. We can only upload the replay.
Anyways, Ishan Prabhu, long time no hear, no speak. So wishing you and your wife well. Hopefully you're enjoying the New Mexico oasis, paradise. So thank you for your lecture. Wishing you well.
Thank you.
can tell you're having a lot of realizations.
You know, just trying to understand. Just trying to understand so that I can make use of this science of Krishna consciousness in according to my little capacity. But I'm feeling encouraged that there's hope. Yeah.
Prahlad Prabhu, I don't know if you're talking, but because we can't hear anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a further question?
No further questions. I appreciate the talk. Thank you.
Okay, so if everybody's cool, we can sign off as much as we don't want to, really, Ishan Prabhu. But prasadam time and then rest time. And 2 hours later, we've got the next class coming on. Nimai Pandit Prabhu is coming on to discuss a very important topic for us, which is what's happening with the court case and BBT situation. For those who are really into book distribution, which everybody should. Ishan Prabhu.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I shouldn't ask you publicly. Don't tell anyone. Can I take your email and telephone number from Gregory Prabhu?
Of course.
Okay, I didn't ask that publicly. Okay, so thank you so much, and I will try to get you another slot, definitely. But you know you're on for another slot, right?
I think on the 16th at 9 o'clock in the morning, my time.
Just 1 second, let me confirm that. It's definitely not 16th because 16th was yesterday, I think, right? Unless I'm.
Oh yes, you're right. I think I have it written down.
Yeah, 20th.
20th, yeah.
20th at the same time. Well, 5
Okay.
p.m. German time, which will be your 11, right?
I
So-
think that I was told 9 o'clock my time.
Is 10:40. It's 8 hours, so if it's 8 hours. 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 hours. 7, 8. So
Well, maybe you send me a
Sorry.
definitive. Yeah.
Oh my God.
What time do you want him to give to us?
Prabhuji, 5 p.m. German time. What time would that be for him?
It's very simple. Ishan Prabhu, what time is it now?
9 a.m.
Okay, Ishan Prabhu. Ishan Prabhu.
Almost 7 a.m.
So add 2 hours. Add 2 hours to this. And it will be 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
So very simple.
Okay.
9 a.m.
Okay,
your
don't
time.
confuse him. Okay, Ishan Prabhu. So
Yeah.
on the 20th, of this month at 9 a.m. your time.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Okay. Thank you so much for your wonderful sharing.
Hare Krishna.
Take care. All glories to Prabhupada, and thank your wife for us too.
Sure, I will.
For both nicely.
Thank you,
Srila
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada
Hare
ki
Krishna.
jai.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.